York. It's a show that has late breaking news. LeBron to Philadelphia. Just found out. Holy cow, we've been off for a while. Someone just told me in my ear. Wow, we're gonna have to blow the show off.
We'll play it like that. Let's act like it just happened.
It just happened. For us, it did. I didn't consume any sports news until I walked in this morning.
Turns out a lot of stuff's been happening.
A lot of stuff's been. It's good to be back.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back.
Refreshed.
Great to be back.
Did a staycation.
Yep.
KW did a little tour of the Northwest.
Dude, I was in the
Northeast.
woods.
Pardon me.
Northeast.
Yeah,
Northeast.
Northwest. I'd love to go to the Northwest.
Yeah,
Remember, I want to go to
Vancouver and Seattle.
Beautiful up there.
One of the most beautiful cities in North America.
Fantastic. Starting in Philadelphia, but commuting from New York. LeBron agrees to a 2-year deal for only $8 million, which is a lot of money in the real world, but also a 92% pay cut.
That's about a month for LeBron, usually, right?
Yeah,
If
I don't think
that.
he's spending. Well, he's got to spend $1 million
No,
on
less
his
than,
bond.
less than that. It's $4 million a year. He was making 60.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
was even thinking $8 million, but yeah.
LeBron writing on social media, granted a long time ago, I'm not going for money, not going for family. I still want to grind. I still want to compete to win and have a chance at the feeling of winning another championship. What did picking the Sixers tell you about the King?
3 specific things.
Wow.
First one, Rich Paul was not lying to us when he said before this decision came out, LeBron was going to go to the Knicks. Because the Sixers check as the most boxes that the Knicks would have checked without being the Knicks. Being on the East Coast, being able to live in New York City, new franchise, a historically relevant but championship-starved franchise. The 3 franchises in the league as of a year ago or 5 months ago who had won a title and had the longest droughts were the Knicks at 53 years, the Blazers at nearly 50 years, and the Sixers at now. Those are the 3 teams that have won a title that have a drought longer than LeBron's been alive. That won a title but haven't won it in LeBron's lifetime.
Right.
So I do believe he was going to be a Knick if they wanted him and if he didn't.
And if he had gone there and they won, they would have won, obviously won anyway, but that would have been huge.
Unbelievable. And so I feel like Philadelphia is like the next best version of that if that's what he wanted to do. And if he was going to go to the Knicks, once Rich said that, we should have known, he's willing to go all the way to the East Coast. He's willing to go to a new team.
Yeah.
So that's first point. Second point is his top priority was winning without ring chasing. Because I think the Spurs would have taken him at the minimum. I think the Thunder would have taken him at the minimum. I know the Nuggets would have taken him maybe at more than the minimum. Maybe if they would have, made something work.
You think the Nuggets would have been ring chasing?
I think the Spurs and the Thunder would have been considered ring chasing, and I think the Nuggets, I put them in that group because there is, on any of those 3 teams, there would be no question he's not their best guy, even in a given playoff series. I think even if he's not the best guy on the Sixers, he absolutely can be the best guy for a playoff series with the Sixers. And that wouldn't have been the case with those 3 teams. And my last thing that it tells me about LeBron is, I don't know if you're the one that I got this phrase from, Kevin Wildes, or someone else. But I think it was,
Defense
doesn't matter.
wins championship?
No, I'm not saying I love my kids more than you love yours, but we're tied for the most. Like you can't love your kids more than I love mine. That idea.
I like that though.
I'm not saying LeBron James loves basketball more than anybody else, but I'm saying no one's ever loved it more.
Oh, that's good.
I'm saying he absolutely just loves playing the game and is going to play, I've been saying it, for 25 years. I'm adding an addendum. Minimum. He is going to honor this contract, barring catastrophic injury. He is going to play for a minimum of 25 years. So he wanted to go east. He desperately wants to win another ring, and his love for the game's unquestioned. Those are the 3 things this decision tells me about LeBron.
First, I'll address a few of the things you said before I get to mine. San Antonio would have definitely been considered ring chasing.
Yes,
Even though they didn't win it, it just would have been like,
They're the favorites or co-favorites.
OKC,
Yeah.
A little
They just
less,
won it.
A little less, but still probably. I can't say Denver. Now, obviously, some people are saying this is ring chasing. So some people would have said wherever he went, because they were all good teams, it was ring chasing. Denver, I don't know that I consider that ring. Obviously, Jokic is awesome, but they have not had great deep playoff runs
That's true.
in the last few years. And obviously, it's been a few years now since they won it. But still, some would have definitely felt that way. These three things, it's interesting you said three specific things because that's what I had too. Three specific things. One, winning is definitely priority number one. Because you can argue that of the teams he considered strongly, it's arguable, but this is the team that's the most talented and has the best chance of winning. All right. Cleveland maybe, but this team is stacked on paper. All right. Secondly, legacy. And for LeBron, legacy is all about the GOAT conference. There's nothing else he can do except convince more people that he's the GOAT. All right. And so I think LeBron's looked at it like, this is just me speculating. The two things he can do to convince a majority of people that he's the GOAT is the longevity, which he obviously has that. Yeah. And then secondly, if he wins with Philly, he'll be the first player in NBA history to win 4 championships with 4 different franchises. And 3 of them, obviously, he led them there. This one, he's one of the best players. Yeah. We'll see, whatever. And so I think I believe, because I don't think the GOAT conversation's ever that far from his mind. I think that played a role. Like, you know what? As you said, they haven't won it in 43 years. You already helped the Cavs bust the drought. You'd be helping Philadelphia, one of the great franchises in the league. Even though they haven't won it in 4 decades,
they're a historic
they're one of the great franchises. So that was the second thing I learned. And then the third thing is when he was playing against Dallas a few months ago and Luka was out and LeBron was having a great game and said to that fan, they got me on the shelf.
Yeah.
He was joking around with the fan. He didn't mean it fully. He was like, to me, it meant, I don't think he hated playing the way he played in LA. Now, maybe some could argue that because he left there. But I think when he said, they got me on the shelf, he was kind of playing along with the fan. Yeah, I can do more, but, they got me on the shelf. Because that is the exact role he needs to go play in Philadelphia. The same role he played with Luka and Austin Reeves is what they need for him to do in Philadelphia. They don't need ball-dominant LeBron, and he's not necessarily that player at this stage of his career anyway, but they got 5 big-time offensive players in their starting lineup. Not a role player among them. You need role players. Team USA even did that. They picked Derek White over Jaylen Brown. All right, you need role players. LeBron, I'm not saying he'll be a role player, but he is the only one who can get you 20 points without having the ball a ton. All right, the only one he's the best passer on the team. He can still rebound well, and quite honestly, Embiid's not the rebounder he used to be, so he could be one of their best rebounders. He's the only player I can see that can really impact the game strongly on their team without having the ball in his hands a lot. Maxey is used to having the ball a lot and being a scorer. Jaylen Brown is a defender, but offensively, he'll have the ball in his hands to make an impact. VJ is young, we'll see. And Embiid at this point is scores. He's not a great defender, not a great rebounder.
Sorry to interrupt, but clearly their best passer.
Yeah,
so I think ball in his hands, but moving it rather than initiating. I do think he's going to have to be a huge offensive initiator as far as.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a Luka. There's not going even Maxey, though. Maxey doesn't play like Luka, so it's going to be different.
Yeah. Just quickly before we talk about the upcoming season, did you have a take on the money? The money was shocking to me.
What's the only?
Well, it was going to be that wherever he went, essentially.
It was always going to be that?
Yeah, once he waited this long,
there.
I think Miami could have offered him 8 for 1 year. And unless it was going to be a sign and trade, which was never going to ended up happening once the Lakers made their moves. He had resigned himself that's why he could wait as long as he did.
Yep.
Or by waiting as long as he did, he guaranteed he was going to play for the minimum.
Having the biggest bargain of a contract in the entire league while still playing at a all NBA level, it's a real sacrifice. I don't buy he's got plenty of money. It's a lot. Leaving $50 million on the table is a sacrifice.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I don't know who was going to offer him 50.
Well, he just made 50, right?
Yeah, but the Lakers weren't offering it to him. But also,
right, I guess
he's playing for way less than he could.
Yeah.
KW leaving more and more breadcrumbs for the bosses as he approaches this contract negotiation. This idea, don't be thinking just because everybody's talking about chemistry and everything going on. We're out here working.
I'm just trying to compete.
We're out here working.
LeBron, no stranger to playing alongside superstars and making it work. This team's loaded. Here's a look at points and ages. Runs the gamut. LeBron's 41, average 21. Embiid's 32.
You know what? He's an old 32.
Yes.
You think? I don't know if old is
Jalen's 29, average 29. Maxi's 25, average 28. VJ Edgecombe, only 21. He averaged 16 in his rookie year. All right, so Brew, we'll go back. You kind of touched on this a little bit. On the floor, will this work?
Well, let's define work. Work is a championship within the next 2 years.
Correct.
All right.
What he's done every time he's
They're going to be
teams.
good, of course, but work is winning a championship. We said Philly hadn't done it in 43 years. We know their fans are impatient. They just got a Super Bowl, and they're not happy with the Eagles right now. So the fans are impatient. And I've said 2 years, which is legit because that's the contract, but you got Joel Embiid on the team. Mm-hmm. And he's played 96 games over the last 3 seasons. Obviously, that's 32 games a year. And so counting on him even for the second season of this contract is really not something you can do. So they should be of the mindset, we're going to win it this year, when Joel presumably will be better than he is 2 years from now. And as I said, he's not the rebounder he used to be. He's a career 11 rebound a game guy. Last year, 7 rebounds a game. Even in the playoffs when he was great and beat Boston, 7 rebounds a game. 2 years ago, 8 rebounds. So he is declining, and who knows a year from now how much more he will have declined. Not to mention LeBron's going to be 42 this year.
It's something.
So at some point, you would think there's going to be some type of decline. There's always been a little decline, but I'm just saying, who knows how long he's going to still be playing at an all-star level. So that being the case, winning a championship being work, I'm more than 50% that they will not win a championship in these next 2 years.
Totally fair.
Yeah, the number one reason is Joel Embiid. I'm sorry. I hope I'm wrong. I've got no faith in him being healthy. I don't think there is any legitimate reason to have faith in him being healthy. And I think, Nick, with Joel Embiid playing healthy, they could win not just the East, could win the championship.
Yes.
Without him, they're good. I don't think they are a championship team without him.
So that.
Let me finish this.
My bad.
Here's what I think for it to work. As I said, I think LeBron has to play that Swiss Army knife role. Okay. And secondly, and this is to Nick Nurse, Iowa Mafia, the head coach, good coach from Iowa. He needs to institute an egalitarian offense.
Interesting.
Where all 5 players, there's movement, and there's not so much he's our number 1 option, he's our number 2 option, he's our number 3 option. It's egalitarian. The open man shoots. So LeBron gets his, Jaylen Brown gets his, Tyrese gets his, Embiid gets his, Edgecombe gets that's what he needs to institute.
2014 Spurs.
Yes, and it's in the NBA with everybody else essentially, not everybody, but most other teams playing 1 or 2 man basketball. We've seen it with the Spurs, with the Warriors. When you play 5-man basketball, it works in this league. And you got 5 stars that want the ball, want to score, can score. That's how they should play. That's the best chance of it working.
Okay.
So our little bug there says all the King's men. I wonder, I don't know if Jaylen Brown watches the show every day, but I wonder if I was Jaylen Brown, I'm like, hey, I get it's a play on words. I don't love that. And I've been big on chemistry since the Knicks won. I said the secret sauce is like, you know what? They're all friends, and they all root for each other. And after they won, they were like, you know what? We were all cast off second-round picks. People didn't believe in us. We all came together, and we all rode for each other. It feels a little bit like this is the opposite story. LeBron has always been the man since St. Vincent, St. Mary's. He wasn't the man in the Lakers, and to the point where like, it's an odd fit. I'll be the Swiss Army knife, but I'd rather leave. And the Lakers were obviously apart. Jaylen Brown is like, I'm finals MVP, I'm the man. And Tatum goes down, like, now I get to prove I'm the man. I'm in the MVP conversation. Celtics like, we know you want to be the man, but kind of have the man, so why don't you go here? He's like, good, I'll go to Philly, be the man, but now he's not the man. Maxey might be the best player, so he's actually the man. Embiid is the man because it's been his team. And VJ Edgecombe is like, by the way, I'd like to be the man.
I'm trending towards being the man.
Ability. So I just don't think it's not nothing.
Listen.
I think it's actually a real story.
I think that's a real thing. And so can I address that and answer the question? So here's what I think they have going for them to counterbalance that. I don't know that LeBron has a better relationship with any guy in the league 20 years younger than him than the one he has with Maxey.
I agree with that.
He and Maxey are super tight. Maxey is thrilled about this. Maxey is the best player on that team prior to, I feel like Maxey, he certainly has an argument he's the best player on the team.
He probably is, but he did defer to Embiid in the playoffs.
Correct.
I don't know if that's right or wrong.
And so he and Maxey, I think, will be good. Mm-hmm. LeBron and Embiid played great together in the Olympics.
Yep.
That LeBron Embiid pick and roll when Embiid played in those Olympics was before the game where Steph went crazy. Like, that was the team's bread and butter. And I think Embiid's happy about this. Jaylen is in a tricky spot. But Jaylen has heard this entire summer everybody discussing how his stats were fake. Like, you know what I mean? How it's like, his numbers were this, but actually he's not good. Actually, he's a negative player. And his, I think, trump card is, but since I've come into the league, my team's won more games than anybody else's team. So I'm this negative player, but I always win. I think at least for the first season, and then we'll see how the first season goes, I think Jaylen Brown will do what it takes to contribute to winning. And Edgecombe, I think you're very lucky that he's not yet in year 3 or 4, where he's not even going to be extension eligible after this year. He's the guy that's going to have to take the smallest role, I think, of everyone.
Yep.
And I think that's the easiest for a guy who's that far from a payday, because he seems like a sharp kid and understands nothing is better for a guy's long-term viability, market, everything than playing on national TV, playing deep in the playoffs, proving yourself there.
He also likes just putting the ball in the basket.
Absolutely. So that's would be. I think what you're saying. Dust, give me an extra minute here because I want to answer the question. But so I think it's a real concern, but I think there are reasons to think they'll be able to work it out. I believe with a healthy Embiid, this is currently the best team in the league. I also think that without Embiid, it is a viable team that could win the East. And then, what the finals have shown us the last decade is you don't have to be the best team on paper to win the finals or to get to a game 7 of the finals, whatever it is. So I almost treat Embiid as not a bonus, but a bit of a bonus. And I also think that when I have heard people discuss this team working, and they talk about, they're like, well, Embiid and LeBron and how many games they're both going to miss. I just want to get this factually accurate statement on the record. In the last 3 years, years 21, 22, and 23 for LeBron James, when he was 39, 40, and 41 years old, he has played the same number of minutes as Iron Man Jaylen Brown. He has played more minutes than Jamal Murray, Scotty Barnes, Paolo Banchero, Karl Anthony Towns, Cade Cunningham, Wemby, Giannis, Chet, Steph. He is right behind Tyrese Maxey and Donovan Mitchell in overall minutes. LeBron James has played in 71, 70, and 60 games the last 3 years. He is not, Mr. Iron Man that he was early in his career, but there's 40 guys that you would think of as bigger injury risk than LeBron, and he's never missed a single playoff game in his career. Yeah. So that could all change. Listen, it's year 24. No one's made it past year 23 or year 23 but him. But I think this team instantly becomes the best team in the Eastern Conference, and then we'll see what happens out west.
Sight unseen that's a big take.
Yeah, it's where I stand.
Interesting wrinkle in the odds. Spurs and Thunder are tied for best title odds. Philly and New York have the second best odds to win it all, but when you look at the East, Jalen Brunson's squad is favored. Knicks, Sixers, Celtics, Pistons, Raptors. Maybe Giannis down there in 6 with Donovan's Cavs. And then Halliburton coming back. He's like, hey, I was just in the finals. What the heck? Are you surprised Philly's not favored to win the East?
No, because no one outside of maybe Nick and LeBron think Embiid is going to be healthy.
Well, you don't think Embiid's going to be
healthy. I didn't say that at all. I didn't say that.
So you said you think they're the best team in the East?
I said with Embiid, I think they're the best team in the league.
Right.
And I said without Embiid, I think they can win the East.
Okay, but can win the East and should they be favored without Embiid?
Should they be favored without Embiid?
I don't think they should be favored without Embiid. I think the Knicks should be favored without Embiid. So, I think that's number one, that I don't think he's going to be healthy, and I don't think anybody else does. And then you guys went over the chemistry concerns, and you're right. Jalen, Jalen's a professional.
Yeah.
I have no doubt he's going to go out and do what he has to do. He might not be the happiest camper about it, but I think he will do that. Look, like I said, you need role players. The greatest teams in the history of this league always had a role player in the starting lineup, whether it was Timothy Mozgov or Andrew Bogut or Kevon Looney or whoever in Golden State or one of those guys Jordan played with, Randy
BJ
Brown and BJ, a ton of them. Kurt Rambis with the Showtime Lakers. Their top 5 players.
Naming role players.
Their top 5 players are all, none of them are role players. And if Anthony Simons is the 6th guy, he's not a role player. You might have to throw a Dean Wade or a KCP in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in the starting lineup. Not a conversation I want to have with VJ Edgecombe.
No.
So I'm just saying, now I agree with you on some of the things you said about why you can be optimistic it could work out chemistry-wise, but these are legitimate problems that they're going to have to work out. And so I think those are the reasons they shouldn't be the favorite.
All right, so I think when the season starts, they will be the favorite. Because when the season starts, Embiid will be healthy.
That might not be the best thing.
I understand, but I think there's going to be enough momentum towards this. I think they will be the favorite because of what Wildes was talking about in the beginning. I think we all thought, maybe I'm wrong, when the Sixers traded for Jaylen Brown, listen, they're not the favorite, but they could win the East. That the Sixers with Maxey, Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, that team, if the Knicks have the same trouble that every defending champion has had, plus they lose Mitchell Robinson, Celtics got worse. We don't believe in the Cavs. It felt like the Heat desperately needed Norman Powell. I think that if LeBron had just signed with the Warriors, so he doesn't go to any of those Eastern Conference teams, I think some people would have looked at this Sixers team with Dean Wade as their starting 4, be like they could win the East. Now LeBron James is their starting 4. So I do think they can win the East. I also think when Embiid's out, I think LeBron will play a little center. I think LeBron, right now, it feels like with Maxey and Edgecombe, they don't have a true point guard. I think LeBron will play a little point guard. I think he can, fill a lot of those roles. Quick bonus take to end this.
Bonus take.
Because what we didn't show, because it wouldn't have made sense there, is some of the deeper championship odds and Western Conference odds. But had we done it, you would have seen the Los Angeles Lakers at 35-1 to win the title and 19-1 to win the West. Now, I understand the West has those 2 juggernauts, but the meat of the East might actually be better than the meat of the West, but those two juggernauts are there. Now that we know that LeBron James is willing to play for the league minimum,
Well,
I feel like the Lakers and the little whisper, what I felt was a whisper campaign to the media throughout the beginning and middle of last year, we're ready for this to be over. We're excited to move on, is something they will regret. I think that they did need to prioritize Walker Kessler, turn the car keys over to Luke, all those things. Had they been able to do that while maintaining a relationship with LeBron that I think they were unable to maintain, and if he was willing to play for $4 million for Philly, to not have the relationship strong enough where he'd stay on the team where his son plays and play for $4 million for the Lakers, I think they're going to regret that.
Don't you think the only reason they regret it is if they would have won a championship with him?
I think that they would have a much better chance next year winning a championship if they were the team that had LeBron on the league minimum than the Sixers.
37 days away from the start of the NFL season. Bills open up in Houston. Kay Adams sat down with Deion Dawkins about the addition of DJ Moore. Kay Adams said, I don't want to see this Superman nonsense. I loved it. What are you, stressed out about something?
No, I'm disappointed in front of the show, Deion Dawkins.
Why?
Remember, he was on the show. He was drinking Labatt Blue. He said he'd send us some. We like him. We like Deion Dawkins.
We do.
But we never got the Labatt Blue. Is
I
that
did.
what you're upset about?
No,
Did you?
I have it. Yeah. I have it. It's in my office. I had one before the show. Because who's the Bills guy on the show? It's me. It's always been me.
You pick them to get
Here's what I'm going to say. You don't even think they're going to win the division.
No, they didn't win last year.
Brew abandoned them after they got rid of Diggs. I don't remember. I've always been the Bills truth teller on the show.
Truth teller is fair. I don't know if you're the Bills guy.
Well, if the show has one, it's me. And I don't know why Bills fans, media, and players insist on denigrating 50-some guys on a roster to promote a guy that everyone knows is awesome. Nobody questions that Josh Allen is awesome. This idea that Josh Allen's been in this impossible situation where he just has to do it all on his own is just ahistorical. The Bills have been true contenders for the last 5 years. You know, the Bills' seasons are defined by how they lose in the playoffs. So those 5 years are the 13-second game, the awful playoff loss at home to Cincinnati, the missed field goal against Kansas City, the other loss against Kansas City, and then last year's against Denver. Those 5 years. Here is their defensive ranks over those 5 years, okay, since they've been contenders. First, second, fourth, 11th, 12th. In the 5-year span, it's the best scoring defense in the league overall, and it's the only team in the whole league that has never had a scoring defense outside of the top 12. They've never had it since they've been contenders. They've always had somewhere from good to great defenses.
Sure.
All right, what about weapons? Well, in the last 5 years, when he had Stephon Diggs, this actually dates back 6 years, I
like
guess.
this. Shout out to Stephon.
Diggs, okay, so 2023, you see a real drop-off, right? But luckily, 2023 is when James Cook got involved. So he had the number one receiver in football for one of those years. And then James Cook, all right, his first year, 16th in rushing yards, but first in rushing touchdowns. And last year, he was the rushing champion. One of the primary reasons, Brew, the Bills have not gotten over the hump is because, by the way, James Cook, the last 2 years, is second in the NFL in playoff yards to Saquon Barkley. He's been great in the playoffs. One of the reasons they have not gotten over the hump is because in these 5 years, when they've lost in the playoffs, in the last 4 years when they've lost in the playoffs, post 13-second game, Josh has been below his standard.
Well, he's trying to do it all.
That nonsense.
So I don't know why we say a team that has the rushing champ and historically had great defenses in the last 2 years, just had good defenses, that it's a one-man show for the quarterback. I don't think that's accurate.
I like your take, but as the, former journalist on the show, I watched the whole. I didn't actually watch the whole interview. I watched
More than we watched.
To get the context.
I watched the whole show.
Yeah.
And as delicious as your take was.
Delicious.
Can you just stop down for a second? Can you stop down for a second?
What?
Dusty, just give me.
Am I going?
Just give me 1 minute
Go
here.
ahead.
Just give me 1 minute.
Let me get back to my
decide.
take when you're done.
Are you going to be using the word delicious throughout the show?
Are you mad because I used it with Nick? Usually
you
I
use
use
it in the
with
walk-in, and then sometimes you prompt me for it, and you're like, "What is that?" And I'm like,
He's
"Delicious."
jealous that
But we're gonna just be using delicious is just one of your things.
I'll throw it in when the time is right.
All right, back to
your take, Bruce. Go ahead.
No, Deion Dawkins did not mean any disrespect. He wasn't dismissing James Cook.
Okay.
Now, if you just watch that part, you might think they had the best leading rusher in the league. What's he talking about? But the context was the passing game.
Yes.
He was talking about the passing game. And I also think, Nick, he actually meant that Josh can sometimes feel like he has to do it all by himself. And so, look, we got a top flight receiver, a top 10-ish receiver, whatever. A legit
20-ish.
number one. How about that?
There we go.
You got a legit number one
That's
receiver. Good. Josh does not have to feel like he has to do it all. Because I agree, the stats in the playoffs, sometimes he's feeling like he has to do it all. And you look at, I think they actually have a pretty good receiving core now. Because everybody, Khalil Shakir, he mentioned Joshua Palmer, okay, we'll see. But the two tight ends they have, without a legit number one, everybody had to move up. And they're not, right. Khalil's not a number one. But now you have a number one. Everybody's in their right spot. And you're right, Nick. I mean, Deion does like to pub his teammates. That's why with the Joshua Palmer, like last year it was Keon Coleman was going to be the superstar wide receiver.
So here's the question I would have for you, though, KW.
I'm good.
If it's just about he now has a legit number one, and let's just assume DJ Moore is going to have such a bounce back, he is up to the level of like early with the Bills, Steph Diggs. Do you guys feel like Josh stylistically played differently as from a risk-taking standpoint with
a better receiver?
Like from when he had Diggs versus when he had Keon Coleman last year? I feel like
Well, remember,
if anything,
when they took off and started, remember they were struggling a couple years ago.
And they stopped throwing it as much.
Yeah, they took the ball out of his hands to some degree.
And that was post-Diggs. So my point is, historically, he has played the playoff game against the Broncos notwithstanding when he was max reckless. It's not like, when he's had a great receiver, he's been cautious, and then he's just gotten crazy when he has to do it. It actually is kind of more the opposite. We showed that roller coaster graphic and him leading the league in turnovers year after year after year when they had a number one receiver in Diggs. And it was the last couple years when they had the number one rusher in football, last year at least, when he was more cautious. I feel like I can't remember a team that had the rushing champ more often be discussed as if it has no weapons.
That's fair. To Deion's credit, Bills wide receivers last year, you don't even have to pop it, Dust. We'll just move on. 2,107 receiving yards. It's 24th in the league. Just for wide receivers, though. Yeah. Obviously, targets the tight end.
Quickly, I actually think one of the most intriguing situations, maybe at least in the AFC or that division, is how does Brady use Josh now that he's totally in charge? Does he open it up again and let Josh kind of go 4 years ago? Or is it more of the cautious offense that there's been
the other
last
quotes
2 years?
we got out of the Bills was that Joe Brady's like having your uncle in charge, where they let you do stuff you weren't otherwise allowed to do. And that always works in the end.
Head to Dallas, where the Cowboys are S-Bob and trying to be Gotti, the greatest offense there is. Okay, Brew, here are the ranks last year. The offense was good, wasn't quite the greatest offense there is. The defense was terrible. And if you add them up, they were basically winning games 30 or losing games 30 to 28. The combined points on the scoreboard was the sixth most in the Super Bowl era. It's a little interesting factoid. So your reaction to Dak saying he wants to be the Gotti, the greatest offense there is.
Let me get this straight.
Oh, here we go.
He nicknamed their offense Gotti.
Yeah.
Yes.
Greatest offense there is. You guys know I like the Cowboys this year.
Yeah.
You've been flirting with them a little bit, yeah.
Their offense is great. The defense, I think, will be improved. I've picked them to win the NFC East. And I'm toying. I haven't made my NFC pick. None of us have.
Not prediction weeks.
But they're in the running. They're in the running as the team I might pick out of the NFC to get to the Super Bowl. And then this. I mean, I just don't like it.
I didn't think it was.
I love it! I love it! Thank you, Dak, for showing a little swag.
Oh!
Show us some swagger. Now let me straighten this out, because people were saying, well, you don't like when they talk about the Super Bowl and this and that.
Yeah.
I don't like when Jerry Jones, who is not out there banging heads, doesn't have to answer for all the stuff he says, goes on his weekly radio show, stands outside the locker room after every game, and holds court about how they're going to win the Super Bowl. But a player, particularly your leader, coming out there saying, why not us? We've got arguably the two best, the best receiving tandem in the league. Yeah. We got a running back I've always loved, Javonte Williams, who's legit. I loved him in Denver till he hurt his knee. He hurt his knee. Yeah, privately, you didn't know, but I loved Javonte Williams. Why not us? We know when Dak is healthy, their offense cooks.
Oh yeah.
The offense cooks, so yeah, they're good for you, Dak.
Before I have you go, Nick, can I just show Brew one more thing? Dusty, hold on. Let me just read the quote from Dak Prescott. I want to set the tone. This happened while we were on vacation, bro. I want to set the tone. I think the tone's been set. To say a T-shirt is going to do it, it would be. I knew you guys would like it. Didn't know how many teammates would see. It's just manifesting things. When we want stuff in life, a lot of times, but when people start talking about it, you kind of hesitate. Should I say that? They're going to hold me to it. Dusty, can you show what Dak Prescott wore?
Oh, that's a throwback 1995 Cowboys Super Bowl champions T-shirt, bro.
It says champions on it. That's how he showed up to training camp, bro. Too much, or is that also?
You know what? I'm feeling good right now. I'm going to go, Dak,
I thought it may have been too much.
Let me help your
It's a little much, but okay.
But so when he was, the other thing that you didn't have in that quote, when he talked about, I believe, in manifesting, and I don't know where you stand on that or not, he was like, when I was 6 years old, I said I was going to play in the NFL, and when I was 9 years old, I think I said I was going to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. So he talked about
how. So did a lot of people.
That's true.
Exactly. And he's the quarterback.
Just saying. I don't know that
hold on.
There's millions of people that said that.
That makes
it like that.
Wait a second. That's what makes it more impressive. It's way less impressive if someone's like, I'm gonna grow up and I'm going to be Kevin Wilde's assistant. They're the only person with that dream. That job's available.
If every kid wants to be the Cowboys quarterback and one gets
the one who got it. And he's the one who's got it. What do you mean?
That's not fair. It's not,
what do you mean? Here's the problem with that.
He's the one who got it.
Nick, here's the problem with that argument.
Yeah.
You think every other year he hasn't said, we're going to win the Super Bowl. We know he said that.
But he is on Front Street now with this.
I like the swagger.
Way more than.
I like him coming out there and putting it out.
Okay, good. I'm glad you like it.